Good Wednesday morning, everybody. This is Stephen Ray, aka Stingray, and I hope everybody's doing well on this Wednesday morning. Now, as you can see, I wanted to jump here on social media and kind of give you guys a quick update about Hurricane Delta, which is currently over the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, of course, this is a satellite of earlier of Hurricane Delta, and Hurricane Delta is currently a major hurricane with winds of 105 miles per hour. Movement is towards the northwest at 17 miles per hour. Now, it is supposed to get back over the Gulf sometime later this evening and into tonight, and then move up to a point of around Cameron, Louisiana, over towards intercoastal Louisiana. So this has definitely shifted off to the west a little bit, and unfortunately, this is making a similar track towards the areas that Hurricane Laura destroyed earlier this summer. So unfortunately, that is not good news for our friends around Cameron, Louisiana, all the way up to Lake Charles and places like that. Now, as you can see, this is still a tropical storm up there towards Greenwood and Greenville, Mississippi, by 7 a.m. on Saturday, and then lifting quickly into the Tennessee-Kentucky border by 7 a.m. on Sunday. So this is a significant severe weather potential shaping up from Friday into Saturday and then Sunday. Now, I do also need to mention that the Missouri LSU game that was supposed to be at Tiger Stadium Saturday night, that has been moved up to Columbia, Missouri. It will be played at 11 a.m. Because of the inclement weather and the impacts of Hurricane Delta. So we'll talk about that more on the Friday show of the Stingray Show. But right now, I wanted to go on ahead and show you that this is a monster right now. This is Hurricane Delta. This was earlier this morning before she made landfall at 5:30 our time near Cozumel, Mexico. And it's currently over the Yucatan Peninsula. It has weakened some, but we do expect it to once again become a major hurricane and make landfall as a major hurricane, maybe a Category 3, maybe a Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, close to Cameron and Lake Charles, Louisiana. Unfortunately, in the I would say probably midday to early afternoon on Friday. So right now is the time to prepare if you are along the coast of Louisiana. So let me go on ahead and show you that if you are up here towards Greenville, Winona, Tupelo, or Oxford, you're going to see a lot of rain out of this. Memphis is supposed to see 4.14 inches of rain. Greenville, which is a little bit further off to the south, is supposed to see 5.5 inches. And over here towards Tuscaloosa, we're supposed to see just over an inch of rain. But like I said, if this track goes more to the east, this would put the 4 to 5 inch totals closer to us. If it goes further to the west, that would take the rain chances further west of us here in West Alabama. So let me go on ahead and show you. Now, this, of course, is from the Jackson, Mississippi National Weather Service. Now, as you can see, if you're down here in far southwestern Mississippi, Natchez to almost to Vicksburg, if you are in the red shaded area, you can expect a significant wind damage threat from the remnants of Hurricane Delta. Sustained winds of 50 to 60 with gusts above 65 miles per hour. Widespread downed trees and power lines are possible. Damage to structures, road blocked by trees and debris, and power outages lasting multiple days. And that is going to be down here just off to the south of Bastrop, Louisiana, down to a line near just off to the south of Vicksburg, just off to the west of Brookhaven. Now, if you are in the Hamburg, Arkansas area, all the way over to just off to the west of Hattiesburg in this orange shade, 30 to 45 miles per hour sustained winds with gusts upwards of 50 to 60. Down trees and power lines, some damage to structures, and widespread power outages are possible. And then, of course, if you were up here in the rest of Mississippi in the yellow shade, you can see sustained winds of 20 to 25 with gusts upwards of 30 to 40. Weak trees and dead trees may break or fall, and isolated power outages are possible. But like I said, if this shifts off to the east, you could see this threat be shifted more to the east and to the northeast. If it goes further to the west, then you can see it shift more to the west a little bit. Okay, so that is the wind threat that we have going on. Now, we need to talk about the flash flooding threat. And I need to go back and also say real quick that the wind damage threat is Friday into the day on Saturday. Now, the flash flooding threat is for Friday and for Friday night. If you were over here towards the Delta, the southwestern portion of the Delta, Mississippi area, back over here towards Natchez, Vicksburg, Waynesboro, and Bastrop, Louisiana, 6 to 10 inches of rain are possible. Areas of flash flooding likely. Some roads may become flooded and possibly closed. Some structures possibly threatened with inundation, and minor river flooding is possible. Now, in the limited threat areas, which is basically from, I would say, 45 back off to the west, 2 to 4 inches of rain with local amounts up to 6. Localized flash flooding is possible, particularly in low-lying and urban areas, and very minor river flooding is very possible. But once again, moves further to the east, this will be shifted further eastward. If it moves off to the west, these will be moved off to the west as well. Now, if you're down here towards the New Orleans, Baton Rouge area, gusty winds, now this will, you can impact some significant or possible across the area later this week. Gusty winds increase Thursday into Friday across the area as early as late Thursday. For coastal areas of southeastern Louisiana, expect the potential for hurricane-force winds west of Baton Rouge and where the storm eventually comes inland. Tropical storm force winds are expected east to the Mississippi coastline through early Saturday morning. Now, storm surge inundations 7 to 11 feet west of Port Fourchon, Louisiana, 4 to 6 off to the east of that, between that place and Ocean Springs, Mississippi, 3 to 5 feet in Lake Pontchartrain, and then 2 to 4 feet near Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and off to the east. Now, of course, if this were to go eastward, these would be increased heavy rain. Heavy rain leading to flash flooding will be very possible across the area, depending on where the heavier rain bands set up. Average rainfall of 2 to 6 inches are possible, mainly west of I-59, and locally higher amounts are possible. And you always know, with a landfalling tropical system, and especially a major hurricane, a few brief, weak tornadoes will be possible anywhere to the north and to the east of where the center ultimately makes landfall on Friday. So once again, I showed you back here, let me go up here. This is the forecast precipitation for the northern end of the track of Hurricane Delta. This is the rainfall on the southern end. Lafayette, Louisiana, and Alexandria, Louisiana could see anywhere between 4 and 6 inches of rain. Baton Rouge, 3 to 4. Macomb, Mississippi, 3 to 4. Hattiesburg, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. New Orleans, 1 inch to 1.5 inches as well. And then, of course, 1 to 3 inches are possible basically east of I-55 with higher amounts towards the west. Watch for locally higher amounts in any part of the area depending on where the heavier rain bands set up. And if you live in a flood-prone area, make sure you have preparations in place before Friday and ensure that you have a place to go should flooding become an issue for you. And also remember, do not drive your car over a flooded roadways. Always remember to turn around, do not drown when encountering flooded roadways. All right, so let me go on ahead and take you over here and let me show you the models. Right now, the impacts are very limited for Birmingham and West Alabama because this is so further off to the west from us. Now, if this storm were to make landfall closer to Yuma, Louisiana, and New Orleans, that would put a lot of heavy rain and wind over Tuscaloosa and places like that. But for right now, the impacts are going to be mostly for Mississippi and points off to the west. Now, we will have a little bit of rain here in Tuscaloosa, but as far as the more significant stuff, that's going to stay over to the west for now, unless, of course, we have a further track and shift off to the east, which could happen. So let me go on ahead and show you the model run, and this is now the 12Z is not out yet. It is not fully out. It is only out through 33 hours, and that really doesn't do us any good because at that point, the hurricane is still over the Gulf, so I'm going to have to go back to an earlier model run. Now, I will do another update tonight for you guys and give you more of a in-depth model run overview. So this is the 6Z Hurricane Wharf model, and as you can see, it is currently just off the Yucatan Peninsula when this came out. And let me go ahead and step this forward, and as you can see, here we go on Friday at 1 p.m. we have a major hurricane of 948 millibars. That would be pushing a Category 4, maybe a Category 5 hurricane at that point, and then eventually moving inland somewhere closer to This one wants to take it closer to the Lake Arthur and Intercoastal City, Louisiana area. So this one wants to take it a little bit further off to the east of the Lake Charles area, and that would be off to the east of where the National Hurricane Center has their model, has their actual path for right now. So then this one takes it up to a point near Lafayette, Louisiana, and Simmsport, Natchez, Mississippi, and at this point it could still easily be a hurricane, and then from there it wants to take it towards the Vicksburg area, and then the Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana border, and then eventually turn it up here towards the Greenville, Greenwood, and Oxford, Mississippi area as well. And this would be in the early morning hours on Saturday. So you can expect rain, and a lot of rain if you are going to the Oxford, Mississippi for the Alabama and Ole Miss game. And then basically it just wants to kind of let it sit there, come across North Alabama, and then eventually get into Tennessee. And at this point, by Sunday, it would be into a weakening phase, into a tropical depression. So the Hurricane Wharf wants to bring it in near Intercoastal City, Louisiana, and Lake Arthur, which would be in the marshes and the swamps. And let me take you over here to the radar scope. Let me go back and make sure. And as you can see, if it were to come in between Cameron and Intercoastal City, there is literally no places on the map that would be in this little area right here. Here is Intercoastal City, and here is, golly, come on. There is Cameron, Louisiana, that got wiped off the map by Hurricane Laura earlier this year. So if it were to come in anywhere down in this area, this is a rather rural area. of Louisiana. So that would be a really good thing if it were to stay and come ashore right here. And then it would eventually come up here towards Lake Charles and Lafayette, Louisiana. Now, of course, this is right now, but as it shows right now, and the model run from the Hurricane Wharf wants to bring it somewhere inland between Cameron and Intercoastal City, Louisiana. Now, some of the other models want to take it closer to Cameron and Lake Charles, and that would not be a good thing. So let me go back over here to the screen, go to the internet, and your internet's going to go black for a second. All right, so let's go back to the Hurricane Wharf. That once again, it wants to bring it in close to Intercoastal City, Louisiana, in the rural areas down there in the swamps of Louisiana. Okay, so let's go on over to the GFS. Now, of course, the 12Z GFS is not out yet, so we have to go back to the 6Z. And once again, as you can see there on Friday, this one actually wants to take it off a little bit further to the west towards Cameron and then move it up to a point where the Louisiana and southwest Mississippi border is there. That would be right over the Lafayette, Mississippi area, and then move it north towards Natchez and Vicksburg, and then from there move it right over the city of Oxford, Mississippi. Let me see the timestamp on that, and that would be late Saturday night. And then from there, just off to the east of Memphis, Tennessee, and then from there, scoot it off to the east, just to the south of Nashville, Tennessee. All right, so that is the GFS. Let me also show you real quick the North American model. Now this is the new model. This is 12Z. So I know this is pretty big right now, so let me see if I can get it to a regional and go to the southeast, and I can. All right. All right, so there it is down here at the bottom of the screen. It's not even on the screen just yet, and here it comes. And it's really wrapping up. You can see it's a really tight system, and this one actually wants to bring it in basically in the same location of Cameron, Louisiana, all the way over to Intercoastal City, Louisiana. So the North American model, and everybody wants to bring it towards the same location that was devastated earlier this year by Hurricane Laura. And the good thing is that this one is not going to be like Hurricane Sally. It is not, I repeat, it is not going to just sit there and meander and dump 30 inches of rain. This one's going to be a quick hit and leave type system, but this one could definitely pack a punch. Let me go ahead and show you that was earlier this morning. This thing was a monster when it made landfall in Cozumel, in between Cozumel and Cancun, Mexico, on the Yucatan Peninsula, with winds of 115 with gusts to 130 miles per hour. So this thing meant business when it made landfall. And let me go ahead and show you the new track. And this was as of 11 a.m. our time. As you can see, this thing is looking like it's going to be a major hurricane once it makes landfall during the midday hours on Friday, and then moving up to a point and still a hurricane inland near the Lafayette, Louisiana area, and then moving up to a tropical storm in the Greenwood. Sorry, I get those mixed up from time to time, in the Greenville, Mississippi area, and then cuts it across North Mississippi to the Tennessee-Kentucky border. So once again, that is the current track from the Hurricane Center. Now, the next advisory will be at 1 p.m. our time, and then another update, a major update at 4 p.m., and then another one later tonight, another major update at 10 p.m. So that's the latest situation. I intend to do another video tonight for you guys on this hurricane, probably about 6 or 6:30 this evening, and hopefully we can run through some more of the models. Let me see how far the hurricane warp is out, and it's out to 45. Let me see. And we are still over the Gulf at that point, and the millibars are 942, so that would be approaching Category 5 strength right off the coast. And I will tell you this too, just something to think about. Let me go back over here. The further west, unfortunately, the further west it goes, over here towards the Galveston, Houston area, over to Lake Charles and Cameron, do not forget about all of the oil rigs and oil wells that are out here over the far western Gulf. So you have to also consider about that with the potential gas prices soaring after this storm makes landfall and comes on through, being a major hurricane, because they would probably have to shut down. They would probably have to stop, stop production for just a little while this storm passed on by. So we really don't need that right now. So hopefully this thing will not re-strengthen as it gets back over the Gulf, but I cannot guarantee that. And it looks like it's going to make landfall over here towards Cameron and Lake Charles, Louisiana, near as a major hurricane in the Friday afternoon time frame. So once again, now is the time to prepare. If you're watching me anywhere basically from Houston and Galveston all the way over to the Louisiana-Mississippi border, now I cannot rule out the possibility of this thing going back east and possibly impacting the Gulf Coast of Mississippi or Alabama. But for right now, it looks like it's going to take a similar path to Hurricane Laura, which really devastated let me make sure that you guys can see this real quick. It devastated the Cameron, Louisiana area not that long ago. So once again, this is Stephen Ray, aka Stingray, and let me check and see if I have any questions or comments over here on the chat. Projected model for Saturday at noon, I would say on Saturday, I'm going to say it's closer to Oxford, Mississippi rather than Alabama. So that's not going to be good news for anybody going up to Oxford or for the Ole Miss game up there. Now, I actually would not be surprised to see a statement put out by the Southeastern Conference or Ole Miss about that game. Now, the Mississippi State game up in Lexington, Kentucky, I think that game is going to be okay. And as far as the LSU game is concerned, LSU, that game has been moved to Columbia, Missouri, because of the impact of Hurricane Delta in the Baton Rouge area. So those are the only games, and of course you have Texas A&M and Florida. But the western side of the system is always the drier side. So if it goes further off to the east, you may not even see any rain at all in College Station for that game. But like I said, the Mississippi State's on the road, Alabama's on the road, and Oxford, I would really be concerned. The only game that I would be concerned about right now would be the Ole Miss and Alabama game, because this thing is going to be turning and coming right over the area of Oxford, Mississippi, probably in the 1 to 2 o'clock time frame on Saturday. As you can see, 7 a.m. Saturday is sitting over Greenville, Mississippi, still as a tropical storm. While I've got you here real quick, let me go on ahead and see strength-wise, what it's going to be, 7 a.m. on Saturday. Okay, so Tropical Storm Delta, at that point, it will be just off to the southwest or southeast of Greenville, just off to the north of Rolling Forks. And at this point, the track would then take it in between Grenada and Oxford, Mississippi, and then cut it off to the northeast near New Albany, Mississippi. And at that point, the winds would be maximum at 45 with gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour. So that is not good news. And that would be at 7 a.m. On October the 10th, which would be Saturday morning. So winds of 45 with gust upwards of 60 to 70. That's nothing to play around with. So that's why I would really expect over the next few days to see a statement come out from the SEC about Ole Miss and the Alabama game up there in Oxford. It may have to be moved to Tuscaloosa, unfortunately, because Tuscaloosa is not supposed to see much at all. Tuscaloosa is only supposed to see 1.06 inches of rain. But for right now, the only game that I'm concerned about having impacts is the Oxford, Mississippi area for the Ole Miss Alabama game. All right, so let me all right, well, guys, thank you for all the comments. Thank you for staying here with me. And once again, this is Stephen Ray, aka Stingray. I intend to do another Stingray show on Friday, and this will probably be really close to when this system is actually going to make landfall on Friday. So I will be, of course, watching that very closely. And also, I intend to do another weather video about Tropical Storm and Hurricane Delta this afternoon and this evening about between 6 and 6:30. And hopefully by then we will have more updates on the models to where we can actually... All right, we got an updated model run real quick from the Hurricane Wharf, and this one is actually a little bit further off to the east. So we will run through all of the models once again later tonight. But for once again, this is Stephen Ray signing off on the update of Hurricane Delta, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. And I'll see you guys back here tonight between 6 and 6:30 in the evening. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.